Hello, I'm Natasha Hussein, and this is Newsfeed, your dose of what people are talking about online. Did you miss Thursday's U.S. presidential debate? Even if you did, you probably heard about it. President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump went head-to-head in their first 2024 election showdown, and it was all anyone could talk about it. You've probably seen the clips, memes, and posts flooding your social media feeds. Why? Well, because it was a mess. For starters, CNN announced that the moderators wouldn't fact-check the candidates live. This led to Trump making false claims without being challenged. He said Biden's policies would allow for abortions after birth. And there's no such thing. That's murder in any jurisdiction. And he claimed that overturning Roe v. Wade was something that everybody wanted, despite polls showing 65% of Americans opposed it. Trump also refused to commit to accepting the election results if he lost and dodged many other direct questions. He focused heavily on immigration, blaming undocumented migrants for various issues, and made a chilling promise to let Israel finish the job in Gaza.
As far as Israel and Hamas, Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one who wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
But the debate wasn't a win for Biden either. While he called out Trump's lies, his responses were often unclear and unconvincing. Biden stumbled through answers, appearing to struggle to recall information and frequently going off topic. This performance only fueled concerns about his age and mental fitness. A new CBS News YouGov poll revealed that 72% of registered voters doubt Biden's mental and cognitive health, up from 65% in an earlier poll. Even 45% of Democrats polled think he should step aside and make way for another candidate. The weekend was filled with discussions on who might replace Biden. Although First Lady Jill Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and former President Barack Obama admitted it wasn't Biden's best night, they and other Democratic allies dismissed calls for him to withdraw. Biden's family, during a visit to Camp David, encouraged him to stay in the race.
I don't walk as easy as I used to. I don't speak as smoothly as I used to. I don't debate as well as I used to. But I know what I do know. I know how to tell the truth. When you get knocked down, you get back up.
Meanwhile, Republicans seized on Biden's performance, arguing it showed why Trump should return to office.
We had a big victory against a man that really is looking to destroy our country. He's the worst. He's the most corrupt, the most incompetent president in the history of our country.
But if you look at social media, no one truly came out on top. The debate sparked countless viral moments, memes, and snarky comments. Here's a look at some of the highlights making the rounds online.
You answered every question. You knew all the...
I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
Scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it brought back to the states. I did that. Now the states are working it out. If you look at Ohio, it was a decision that was an end result.
Yep, as the presidential campaign heats up, so have the memes. The Trump and Biden camps have been fighting it out online, with netizens playing judge. This enduring mugshot of Trump is catching plenty of airtime. It was taken upon his arrest last year. He's since been found guilty of 34 counts over a scheme to illegally influence the 2016 election, and is the first felon to run for president. The pic has popped up all over the place, often with a comparison to assorted movie villains. Biden's campaign team, on the other hand, has embraced Dark Brandon, which references a right-wing conspiracy meme. Dark Brandon is a laser-eyed alter ego of the president, and Democrats have adopted it, using the image to mock theories about Biden's purported influence on events like the Super Bowl. The two leaders are embracing the power of social media to woo voters, especially millennials and Gen Zs. Biden's campaign officially joined TikTok in February and has posted more than 200 times and has just over 380,000 followers. Trump joined a month ago but has already accumulated 6.4 million followers. This is the same app both of them want to ban over security concerns. According to the latest statistics from think tank Pew Research, 46% of Americans aged 18 to 29 oppose the ban on TikTok and just 29% support it. That's in contrast to 4% of those aged 65 and older opposing the ban, while 71% in the same age bracket support it. And it's not just TikTok that's divided Americans. The choice of who ends up in the White House looms large, with a lot at stake globally, including the wars on Gaza and Ukraine. Thursday's presidential debate showed just how heated the election will be.
Who will you be voting for?
We'll have to wait and see. It's a little down the line.
Okay.
Just kidding. I'm voting for Biden. If it's a Biden-Trump matchup, then I'd be voting for Biden. Yeah.
What would make you want to vote for Joe Biden versus a person like Donald Trump?
I can't even begin to list the reasons. It's that extensive.
Can I get three of them?
Sure. He aligns with my values more. He's more pro-democracy, and I think he's a better person.
Okay. And with policies, anything like that?
He aligns with my policies generally across the board.
It would be best to become the future leader of America in this year with elections.
In terms of this election, I will be personally voting for Joe Biden.
And why so?
I think in terms of just keeping the rule of law and the state of our constitutional democracy, he's the best option.
Who are you going to be voting for?
Biden.
And why so?
Voted for him last year. I don't agree with some of Trump's policies, so that's why.
What policies would it be that you don't agree with?
Some environmental stuff. I hated the Willow Act or whatever. Yeah.
Across the Atlantic, France's far-right National Rally has taken the lead in the first round of parliamentary elections. The anti-migration party, led by Marine Le Pen, clinched 35% of the vote, with the left-leaning alliance behind on 28%. President Emmanuel Macron's bloc is trailing behind with 20%. It's the first phase in a two-part process and the only time in French history that a far-right party has fared so well in the inaugural round. Macron called for a vote after his party was battered by the far right in the recent European Parliament polls, and it seems that his party could be hammered in this vote. Early projections show that the National Rally could clinch between 230 and 280 seats out of 577 seats. That would tee up its president, Jordan Bardella, a 28-year-old TikTok star, to become the next prime minister. That will leave Macron seeing out his remaining 3 years in a somewhat awkward position. Thousands of anti-far right protesters gathered in Paris to voice their fears on the direction a Bardella-led parliament may take on French politics and society.
We must fight because I just had a child 3 months ago, and I really don't want her to live in a world like this, with a government in power who does not respect minorities, who is not tolerant, which pretends to be a government who respects all, who respects the values of the Republic. We don't believe it. This is why I'm here today, for another future.
It worries me and it scares me. We don't see a vote coming for social rights. We don't see economic progress. We don't see immigration. All of this will be swept away because it's the far right. We mustn't forget that.
And it's not older people who are voting for the far right, but youngsters. And like Bardella, who has 1.5 million TikTok subscribers, they are using social media to spread their ideology. This song went viral on TikTok days before the French elections. It's AI-generated content, and while its tune may sound catchy, its message is far from pleasant. It's telling foreigners to return home. When Bardella wins, you will return home. Human rights groups were quick to object and launched a criminal complaint. TikTok removed the content from its platform twice after it was shared more than 40,000 times. With the second round of voting scheduled for Sunday, the song is still being circulated on other social media sites like X by many far-right French politicians, including former presidential candidate Alex Zemmour.
J'entre dans Bardella would not quite be on his own. We must not forget that he is basically a mentee of Marine Le Pen. So in terms of substance and in terms of policy making, we would not really, look at a 20-year-old man making the shots or calling the shots. We would basically have someone who is entirely devoted and entirely loyal to Marine Le Pen and her team. That's one thing. On the other hand, I think we should not underestimate the, let's say the personal side of politics or the human side of politics. And there, it's difficult to predict how well Prime Minister Jordan Bardella would actually do, because if we look at the past 2-3 years, he has been able to get himself quite popular, not least among the young ones.
This next one is a rare opportunity for those whose dream is to live la dolce vita in Italy. Imagine being paid to move to one of the country's most stunning regions. Yes, that's right. The Italian government is offering as much as $32,000 to relocate to one of 76 small towns in the Tuscan mountains. That's because the region's population is dwindling fast, with just 5,000 people or fewer in each of the 76 towns. Tuscany is one of Italy's most scenic regions, famous for its stunning mountainous landscapes and vineyards. But of course, there are a few terms and conditions. One of them is that the property must be your permanent residence and not a vacation house. The program is open to Italian, EU, and non-EU citizens with a long-term residence permit valid for at least 10 years. If you're interested, you have until the 27th of this month to submit your application. If you owned an iPhone 7 or 7 Plus and had audio issues, well, you could be entitled to a payout under a $35 million Apple settlement. US owners of these phones have until July 3rd, that's Wednesday, to file a claim over sound issues caused by defective audio chips. To be eligible, you must have owned the phone between September 2016 to January 2023 and have complained to Apple about sound problems. Apple recently settled the 2019 class action lawsuit but did not admit to any wrongdoing. The lawsuit alleges that Apple failed to inform customers about the faulty audio chips. Users reported issues with phone calls, audio playback, FaceTime, the loudspeaker, Siri, the voice memo app, and in some cases, complete audio failure. So yeah, your phone wouldn't even ring. Claimants can receive a payout of up to $349. All right, if you are on social media at all over the past few days, and no doubt your feed was filled with clips from Glastonbury. If you missed out, don't worry, we've got you covered with some highlights from the UK's biggest music festival. Thanks for tuning in to Newsfeed today and enjoy these performances, starting with Coldplay, joined by an unexpected guest.
What's the score?
1-0 to them. You are the god of this festival because football wasn't officially on anywhere, but you sorted it out. How did you do that?
It was a little, well, we brought a TV in.